Hello and welcome to my video. So in this video, I'll be making a puzzle. So this is for my AP Art class, and so what I decided to do was my sustained investigation is the impacts of technology on humans. So I started off by just drawing my piece. I did a piece of a face cut in half with electronics in between the two halves of the face, kind of like the electronics are exploding out of the head. And then I wanted to make this into a puzzle. I wanted to stretch the piece a little farther than just being two-dimensional on piece of paper, and so I wanted to make it exciting or interactive from the viewer's standpoint and changing in order to progress my AP Art theme. So what I started by doing was just draw the picture. I just added a light wash of watercolor on the halves of the two faces and used colored pencil, and then for the wires and the inside of the face, I outlined it with Copic with a Copic multiliner, and then I went over it with watercolor, and then I did the shading through there. For the background of the piece, I wanted a solid color background, so I used like a light teal blue, and then I did like a drop shadow with some watercolor over the acrylic paint, which throughout some testing, the watercolor was okay. It just didn't really interact with the acrylic paint, obviously, because like the acrylic paint dried tacky, and so the watercolor didn't really interact with the acrylic paint very well. But it was fine. I think the shading was well done on the piece overall, but then I wanted to make it into a puzzle, and that's where the real challenge came in for this piece. I wanted to I think I overcomplicated it in my mind, engineering how the puzzle was going to work, because if you've ever played with a 15 puzzle before, that's basically what I went for. So a 15 puzzle is basically where you move squares or panels, like small little panels, around in order to solve the puzzle in order for the numbers to be in order, like 1 through 15. And so for this piece, I just wanted my puzzle to be 3 by 3, and one panel would be missing, so you're able to move each piece together and to solve the puzzle. So basically what I did was I engineered the puzzle to look exactly and feel exactly like a 15 puzzle, but I didn't use metal because 15 puzzles are metal. I used foam core, and the foam core just rubbed together in a bad way, and it made the puzzle really bad, and you'll see that later. It kind of failed, but I'm just finishing up the piece here. And I also tried a technique I saw on TikTok, which basically you use a Sharpie and you blow through a straw onto the Sharpie, and it would essentially make a airbrush technique that the marker would look like an airbrush on the paper. And I tried to do that for the drop shadow on my piece, but I decided against it. And I also procrastinated cutting up the piece because I know I needed at this stage. I knew I needed to cut up the piece, but to make it into a puzzle, but I didn't want to. It was hard for me to cut it up. I was like kind of hesitant to cut up the art I just made. I made the puzzle, the mechanisms of the puzzle. I used a lot of hot glue. I used a lot of my time, and I did end up scrapping it, and because it just wasn't working the way I wanted it to. And I'll explain how it works now.
Okay, so this is how it works. I basically made these little feet, and then they go on the bottom of the wood like this. Then, because I have like all these wood panels that I cut, there are 4 inches by 4 inches, and that's what my artwork will be glued to. Then on the back of it, basically these are all the 4 feet glued, and the way it works is you put it in like this, like on top of, if you look down on that at an angle, the pieces are like hooking on underneath the this square right here, this block. It's basically a bigger scale of this 9 puzzle, or this puzzle, but this is what I'm making. So you see the foot is like hooking onto this metal block, or like this square. So then basically the piece, these are the legs or the hooks. They hook on, and then they can slide freely throughout the puzzle.
Alright, so yeah, that's how it works. I spent maybe the next 5 hours working on this, 5 to 6 hours just working on the puzzle, and I need to finish this project yesterday when I was working on this. I need to finish it a while ago, so I just tried to get the project done, and I just tried to clear my mind and just get it done and zone out, but I used so much hot glue, I burnt myself so many times, and I ended up scrapping it because it wasn't up to the caliber and quality I wanted, and it wasn't very functional, and so as you can see here, I gave up.
Okay, so this is what I have so far. So let me explain. So as I said earlier, how it works, this is the part that goes underneath the square, kind of like this. But I realized it's very rough, and it will not move very smoothly. Like you can see here, it's literally stuck. As I'm talking about, it's stuck. So after hours of work, I'm gonna scrap it and start again. But I'm gonna start by cutting this up, and then adding the art to the panels. I've worked on this for like 6 to 7 hours, and it's been a while, and now I'm just gonna scrap it. So it's painful, but I need the project to be done, and this will be quicker anyways, scrapping it. So, and a better result. So, all right, let's see how this plays out.
So basically from here, after that defeat, I did realize I needed to give up and try something simpler. I painted some foam core black, and this was my background to the puzzle. And then I continued to cut up the piece. Cutting it up was kind of challenging for me mentally, because it's like, I was going to mess it up. I felt like I was going to mess it up. I was just psyching myself out, but I ended up just cutting it up into pieces, and I was like, heck with it. It doesn't matter anymore. I was already aggravated from the foam core. Nothing else could go wrong with this piece in my mind at this point. But luckily, everything went well with me gluing the piece of paper onto the wood. I just used some Mod Podge and painted the glue onto the panels, and then I attached the paper to the panels, and it was all set. Basically, this is how the puzzle came out. I'm very happy with the way it came out. I just think I wasted a lot of time with the engineering. The way it actually works, I wasted a lot of time, but it was fine. I think it came out good. And this is my mom actually solving the piece, and this is the end result. Unfortunately, I don't have the piece with me. It's actually at my school still, but yeah, I hope you liked the end result, and I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.